This time the question is, I'm trying out freelance writing as a side gig and was wondering how much effort is it worth putting into marketing with a side gig before it starts becoming profitable? I'd love to hear your perspective on this. And this comes from Ria. I think there's at least 3 different ways of hearing this question. The differences might be fairly subtle, but they do influence the answer to some degree. So one option, and I don't think this is what Ria meant, but one option of how you can hear the question is that the trying it out refers to the side gig being more of a hobby than a business, and it doesn't really matter so much if it ever becomes profitable. And in that case, it's more about do as much marketing as you want to do, however much is fun and like whatever maximizes you just enjoying it as a fun hobby. The second interpretation of the question, and this is what I think was meant, is to hear the try it out as a suggestion of this is a side gig to start with and there's a day job or some other income source, and if this ends up being profitable, that's great and that's the intention and that's the hope and there's willingness to work for it. But if it doesn't work out, that's also not that bad. It's not you're not putting all your eggs in this basket. It doesn't really matter if it doesn't work out. It's not a must. And in that case, you have to recognize that you can't know the answer to the question. If the question is, can this be a profitable business? You can't know the answer to that unless you either get really lucky and everything just lines up without really there being much strategy to it. Everything just lines up and you start making great profit immediately. If you're that lucky, I suggest you buy a few lottery tickets. But if that doesn't happen, then the option is to do marketing that actually works. And until you do marketing that really fits your situation and do it right and exhaust all the likely reasons for why it might not work immediately, you can't know if the business could be profitable if you just did marketing well enough. And you don't have to do it brilliantly. You don't have to put a huge amount of work into it. You don't have to spend a huge amount of money on it. But you need to do it pretty well. You have to do it systematically well enough for it to have a very high likelihood of working, assuming the business can work. So I'll get back to that in a moment. The third interpretation of the question would be that this is going to be your only income source, or in some other or for some other reason it must work. It's not optional, it must work. And then it's really like just put as much effort into marketing as you can, like whatever resources, as in time and money and energy, you're not using on delivering on client work, just put it into marketing so that you as quickly as possible get to profitability. But here's the thing, effective marketing doesn't have to take a lot of time, so just doing more of it isn't an answer. It doesn't necessarily help much at all. So it's more of a question of, or what I'm trying to say is that if it is this extreme that you must make it work, then marketing is how you get it to work, and it doesn't make sense to go like skimpy on it at all. Use as many resources as you reasonably can on it. Just do it well. Do it in a way that's likely to work. Unfortunately, often people spend just a lot of time and money on marketing, but they're not approaching it in a way that would be very likely to work. It's just trying a bunch of things, and this trial and error type of approach usually takes at least years before it works, if it ever works. Overall, the question I think is about how much marketing is enough marketing, or how much marketing you overall need to do so that you can get consistent results, whether it's consistent profit or consistently growing profit. Because if you're already making consistent profit, then the goal generally is to either work less or have more fun clients, or to increase the profit without increasing the workload, at least not much. Most people spend months and years just hustling and trying all sorts of things, and usually it doesn't really work. The typical result is that after months and years of trying, there's some things that worked a little bit, but it's hard to even say what they were, but you did get some sales here and there sometimes. Of course, there's lots and lots of people who do make it, who get pretty good results, but a majority of people unfortunately don't. I don't know what the statistics are exactly, but I'm pretty sure that a majority of people who get into business don't get any meaningful results from it, or results that would really justify the effort that go into it. And that's because they're not marketing experts. It's not their expertise to know how to build a business in that way, how to construct the entire marketing puzzle. And actually, even if they are marketing experts, it's still likely that they don't know that part for two reasons. One is that they're topic experts. They know one marketing topic, like advertising, or they know websites, or they know specific social media sites, or they know some specific tactic. That's not enough. It's like if you work in car construction, but all you know is how to make seats. You can't build a car. You need someone to make the welding and the metalwork and the engine and the electronics and so on. Like, we can't build a car with just the seats. And secondly, even if you do know how to basically do it all, if you have a good idea of the big picture, it's incredibly hard to stay objective when it's your own business. That's why, more than half of my clients are marketing experts, people who are very good at what they do in marketing. They even often help their own clients with the big picture. But it's so hard to do it for your own business that they generally get help with it. And because of all that, it's basically impossible to say how much is enough marketing. Because if you do it well, if you really do it analytically in a systematic way that has the best chance of working, it's not that much work. If you spend a few hours on it a week, you can get really, really solid results very consistently and fairly quickly. Of course, there are some individual tasks that can take more time, or you need to hire someone to help you with them, but generally speaking, we're not talking about some insane amount of work. Then again, if you go the trial and error route, unfortunately, most people end up spending months and years on it. And if they do get results, it happens usually only well after thousands of hours have gone into it. In a recent video, I went through what are the most important things to get right early on in business, and those do apply even if you're much further into business. There's a link to that in the description. I'm also going to do about a 1-hour training webinar on this topic very soon. I'll put a link to that. And it is about an hour of training. There's nothing you can buy at the end. At the end of the hour, or after the hour of training, I do tell how you can apply to get one-on-one help if you're interested in that. But the whole webinar is about the process. What is that, at least my idea of that systematic approach to marketing that gives you the best chance of seeing solid results, very consistent results, whether it is that you're just trying to get to profitability or consistent sales, or if you're stuck at 6 figures or 7 figures and you want to get to the next level. In the next video, we'll look at one of the best YouTube advertisements I've ever seen. And it would be a really good advertisement in basically any platform. But even though it's a really, really good ad, and you'll see why, there is also one of the most common mistakes, one of the most detrimental mistakes that most people who are starting YouTube advertising make. And that also applies to most other advertising types. Even though it's a massive brand, they still made that same mistake. So we go through that. If you want to see that, remember to subscribe. And if you have any questions related to the topic today or any other marketing topic, please leave them in the comments. I'll make more videos based on primarily on what people ask. So there's a very good chance you get a response in the form of a video. And if you like this video, please click the like button. Think of it as a small thank you. It also helps me out, so I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next video.